Hey everybody, Mark Horner here, and we are going to try and share the Northern Lights with you. I'm using an older computer and it's making a racket, so I apologize in advance for that. But what we're going to do is we are going to remotely control our friend Christian Zassi's roof camera, which is a pan-tilt zoom camera atop his cottage. Hey, Mark Horner here. Just a second, we're gonna mute some audio. There we go. So we're gonna share that, and I can control it from here. Christian has graciously given me admin rights on it. So let's make this happen. Appreciate your patience, but this will just take a moment to set up. We'll get it going. What I want to do is I'm going to share a portion of my screen. At the moment, I'm only working with one monitor. So we'll get around that. So let's select the portion of the screen. And that's looking pretty good, but we want to nail this. So I think we've got it going there. What I'll do to confirm is I've got my iPad over here and I'm going to make sure that you are seeing what I'm seeing. So let's take care of that. And I've just about got it resolved here. Great. Yes, indeed, you are seeing things properly for the most part. I say for the most part because it looks like I'm squished up there in the corner. That's interesting. What happens if I do this? There's going to be a 20-second delay there. That is interesting. And what I'll do in just a moment here is I will invite Christian Zassi to see if he would like to join us. Can't promise that he'll join, but I know he's awake. This is his camera, which is located in British Columbia, south central British Columbia, not too far north of the Washington state border. And it's along a lake called Okanagan Lake. And it's on the northwest side where there were threats of wildfires. In fact, there was a wildfire there over the summer. This neighborhood is called La Casa Cottage Resort. It's north of West Kelowna. And if you were to proceed north from here along West Side Road, you would go north and around the top of the lake, take you into Vernon, British Columbia. So just a fabulous view of the Northern Lights tonight. I'm going to try and move me out of here, my image. And what I've also got going is I've got Flight Radar 24, an app on my iPad open. And we often see planes passing through the area, particularly very clearly if they are headed to the airport in Kelowna. And they get some small aircraft, but some large ones too. It's not uncommon to see 737s landing throughout the day and the evening. So if we see that, we may zoom in on a plane into the northern lights, which at the moment, this has been, it's been like a dragon breath at night tonight. Sometimes we get things calming down and then they flare up. And we've been seeing that ebb and flow for the past probably more than 2 hours tonight. I'm going to invite Christian, see if we can get him to come on board here in a second. And you know what? I just don't know if I can do it while I'm in this mode, sharing the screen. So we may have to stop sharing the screen for just a moment. Here we go. We can do it up here. Just have to find my way around Zoom. Let's see, you're going to see that. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment, and we'll come back to this because I just don't want to share my email program. Just a second. So I want to get this to Christian. We'll get right back to that. We'll get right back to the northern lights here momentarily. Okay, Christian, if you're watching, here comes the invitation, and we'll go back to the northern lights here as soon as I close this window. Okay. All right, let's share that again. Okay, there we go. And hopefully we'll be able to bring Christian in. He is actually, so it's kind of crazy. Follow me here. I'm speaking to you from the Seattle area here in Washington State. I'm in a town called Snohomish, which is north of Seattle. This camera, which I can control, is, it belongs to Christian Zassa, S-A-S-S-E. He's a really good friend. Many of you know him for his bald eagle photography, as well as his night sky photography. So Christian has this summer cottage located where this camera is on his rooftop. He's not there right now. He's actually celebrating his wife's birthday, and they're actually in Banff, Canada. His internet connection is not very strong in Banff right now. So I'm hoping to bring Christian on as an audio guest, and we can ask him some questions about what's going on in his camera and what we're seeing. And if he can't do that, I'll try and bring him in just by using a walkie-talkie app called Voxer on my phone, and we can listen to him that way. So let's see if he's standing by. At this moment, he is not. Oh, we're getting something here on the camera that we don't want, so let's zoom out. The camera has a mind of its own all of a sudden. Okay, and let's fix the focus here. Oh, a little bit too far there. Okay. And now let's put it back on pattern 3 and we'll play that. There we go. So we're not seeing Christian accept the invitation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute my mic for a moment and see if I can bring him in on Voxer. Just a moment. I'll be right back. Okay, Christian is not available at the moment. However, what I would do is I am going to check the live feeds here. I'm looking at two feeds here. And I don't know if I'm looking, I guess I am looking at mine. I see Cosmic Rose is commenting. Thank you, Cosmic Rose. Cosmic Rose says that Mark Horner Christian is still alive. We were just chatting. Yes. You love Lake Louise and Banff. Fantastic, Cosmic Rose. Well, I don't know if you heard me earlier, Cosmic Rose. I also have an app that shows me the flights in the area. And if we see a flight passing through the Northern Lights, we'll zoom in on that, although the resolution will be a bit of a challenge. But this camera has a magnificent zoom. And we can go ahead and move this around ourselves. Right now, it's on an automatic pattern. Let's go ahead and we'll speed it up just momentarily here. Let's pick up the rate a little bit. We'll sweep across and let's take a look at Vernon. So if you're familiar with Vernon, British Columbia, it's on the northeast side of Okanagan Lake. So let's zoom in a little bit here. And we'll get that focus corrected in just a moment. We'll shoot over this rooftop. And now let's work on that focus a little bit. Whoops. There we go. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? We can zoom in even more so. Let's do that. And we'll go wide for the big picture and we'll sweep around some more. So right now the intensity has let up considerably. So we'll see if it recharges, so to speak. But we've had this ebb and flow in the intensity throughout the evening. It's been a lot of fun to watch. This is the Sassy Photo PTZ camera. That's a pan tilt zoom camera. And it's on Christian Zassi's summer cottage rooftop. He put that in just about 6 weeks ago or so, I want to say. And he had it installed. So he has a pole, a vertical pole. I don't know, it's got to be 3 or 4 feet high on top of his roof. And this camera is on top of that pole. And it can tilt and it can zoom. It can pan. So it can go left to right and can do 360 degrees on the panning. And the tilting, it's got a pretty good range of motion on the tilting, about 20 degrees. And during the daytime, it shows the beautiful sunrises and a nearby osprey nest and the fall foliage. So it's just beautiful. And we talked about the possibility of the Northern Lights. Now, I know Christian, he's lived in many places around the world, including, I believe it was Sweden, where he's told me in years past that the Northern Lights were quite commonplace. So much so that the luster kind of, I think, wore off on Christian. But when you don't see them very often, and they do appear, and then you get them on your PTZ roof camera, you could just hear the adrenaline coursing through Christian's veins tonight as he was able to capture this, because this camera does a remarkable job in low light. Christian has succeeded in imaging Saturn and the rings of Saturn, even in the early evening when it's still daylight. And of course, he's been able to show Jupiter, and he's done that in recent days. So if you'd like to see this camera 24/7, which is what Christian does, he has it available 24/7 on his Sassy Photo YouTube channel. So that's SASSEPHOTO. So I'll put that in the live chat right now. Okay, so I've just put that in the live chat. So it's at Sassy Photo, and you can see the spelling there as well. Prior to going live, I can tell you that there were, over the course of a couple of hours or so, I saw several planes passing through the Northern Lights, and at about 4,000 to 5,000 feet as they were heading from the distance, they were coming towards us across the lake, kind of following the near the shoreline, if you will, just above that shoreline, at about 4,000 to 5,000 feet altitude, going to the airport in Kelowna, which is off to the right, to the south. And of course, when I go live, there's not a whole lot of plane activity. But we'll keep an eye out for them. And I'd encourage you, if you like looking at the Northern Lights, go to Christian's channel now, or after I finish up here, if you prefer. And you could still likely rewind, and you can see these Northern Lights just going bonkers earlier tonight. And I think that might be a plane in the distance, though it doesn't show up so much on my, it doesn't show up at all on my flight radar app. Let's see what this dot is right here. It may or may not be. Oh, you know what? It's a light. It's just a light, probably on a tower. Let's tilt down here. Yeah, I think that's a tower on a mountain, that red light, the center of your screen. Let's see if it moves at all. Let's work on that focus. Actually, I think that is moving, but it's going away from us. It's going right to left. Right here, where my mouse is. Yep, that's a plane. And what we could do is see if we can resolve that at all. It's kind of tricky in low light. You know, what's interesting is it's changed directions, hasn't it? It was going to the left and now it's going to the right. Makes me wonder if someone decided to go for a helicopter ride tonight because it's stationary, isn't it? Look at that. Isn't that interesting? Come on, focus. Let's get that focus. Here we go. Boy, it just wants to keep changing the focus. It really is acting up. We're going to keep working on it here. Christian's telling me the focus is on automatic and I didn't set it on automatic. So I don't know why it defaults to that. And this is one area on this camera where I have really struggled. So I apologize for that. This is the type of shot that I really wanted to get too. So I'm just going to have to learn how to find, I think that setting is deep. Yeah. All right. So I don't want to bore you with that. I'm just going to have to work on my focus issues when I go tight on something at night. It was my understanding that it was supposed to be on manual by default, but it's not. But that's how you learn. You get out there and you practice these things. Oh, Christian says it just changed the manual, so perhaps he did that for me. So let's try it again, and we'll see if we can get this aircraft. So he must have jumped on and to assist there. Cosmic Rose is a plane, helicopter, or Superman. Thank you, Cosmic. All right, so we're going to continue to play with focus. There we go, and let's go tighter. And we'll see how well we can adjust to this. Okay, there we go. And we're going to work. So I have to choose a speed to follow this. I cannot like fine tune it with a dial like you might think with a video game. But this is actually, oh, look, it wants to focus on its own again. So this will be an aircraft headed toward Kelowna. And what's really interesting is it does not show up on Flight Radar, the Flight Radar 24 app, which is interesting because all aircraft nearly always show up on that app. I've been following aircraft into this airport for the last several weeks. See, it just wants to autofocus. There we go. And if it was appearing on the radar app, then I would be able to tell you exactly what aircraft it was, where it was coming from, its speed and altitude. But this aircraft, maybe this was something that didn't log a flight plan and just took off locally because of the northern lights. Local bird, perhaps. Okay, we'll pull out of it. Let's pull out of it. So I don't want to bore you with that. But that's headed down towards the Kelowna airport, which is down in this area right here, just above this ridge line. I can kind of give you a feel for that. The planes actually disappear just before they land behind this ridge line. See, that is not going in for a landing as they often do when they approach from the north, from the left. So it may just be circling around. Can't say for sure. But we won't see the northern lights in that direction because that is to the southeast. But look how well, look, there's Orion's belt. Look at that. See Orion there? Orion is rising. Let's zoom in on Orion's belt from the Sussy Photo rooftop cam, a wonderful PTZ camera that Christian had installed about a couple of months ago, in large part inspired by the wildfire season, because a wildfire was approaching his home. He and his wife Rosanna were evacuated twice. But look how well it does on these stars. Now, I would love to know what this is right down here where I've got my mouse. That looks like a nebula of some sort. And I'm sure Christian could tell us. Let's zoom in some more and let's see if we could get a focus on it. Maybe it's called the Orion Nebula. Christian would let us know if he were here. Let's see if we can. I'm having obviously focus issues tonight. There we go. That's pretty sharp. Yeah, I think right here we have a nebula. Let's go in tighter. And we'll work on that focus. I know it's way out of whack right now, but let's see if we can play with that. I know it's all black right now, but let's hang in there. Something seems to be happening. We're either going the right way or the wrong way. Let's see if we can pull slowly into focus. I see you're commenting, Cosmic Rose, just a moment. Yeah, there we go. Oh, did you see that falling star just shoot by? Wow, it was just to our left in the upper left-hand corner. Wow, that looked bright and wonderful. It was going right to left, diagonally down, of course, just over here as I was getting the focus. What? That is the third one I've seen tonight. I know there must have been many more. I have not been watching the entire time. There were two 17 seconds apart, right over the Northern Lights, and I uploaded that to this channel. Christian's very gracious. He allows me to record, and if I find interesting things, and share it on my channel as well. So that video, I put up like a 30-second video, and let's see if we can resolve this real quick. Having a bit of a difficulty there, so we'll just zoom out and let's swing around and see what we can still make out the Northern Lights. Oh yeah, we still have some green glow. And I'm going to work on the focus here a little bit. Obviously, that's not needed here. There we go. So there's still potential for them to act up a bit. Cosmic Rose in the live chat says, I am loving this. At Sassy Photo pops in for the manual assist on his own camera and stream. I'm in heaven. Why do your streams make me sing songs? And then clip grab time. Right on, Cosmic Rose. 33 seconds, she says, wink, wink. 33 seconds, as opposed to 90. Yeah. So we don't know, you never know what you're going to see. It's the proverbial box of chocolates. We wouldn't be surprising at all to see more meteor showers, because we've been very fortunate to enjoy several tonight. And how wonderful that this camera, how wonderful, you guys, that this camera does so good in low light. I'm not in my normal setup tonight in my audio room. I'm using a much older computer, and I'll hold this up so you can hear me a little bit better at the moment, because I know I'm removed from it. This is a Rode NT USB microphone, in case you're wondering, and it sounds a lot better when I get it close to my mouth. All right. So what I'm going to do, Christian created a pattern, an auto pattern tonight. He has a few already set up, but for these Northern Lights this evening, he thought it would be good to do a left to right pan, back and forth, if you will, over the location where we're seeing the Northern Lights tonight. Again, this camera can spin in 360, but we're going to go back and forth, basically over the width of the screen right here. So let's initiate that pattern right now. And while this is going on, I'm going to take a look, see if I can find the settings to, let's go into configuration. Actually, you're likely to see what I'm looking at here. Yeah, you're going to see this. And I'm just going to see if I can quickly locate these settings, or maybe I'll just abort this, because I don't want to bore you with this. It's not going to show me anyhow. So that's not good. It's just showing me white. So let's stop the share momentarily, and you can see my bald head here as I try to resolve this. So I'm going to go back, and I think I might have to yep, it kicked me out. So my computer warns me that this is an untrustworthy site. It does not like the certificate for Hikvision, or the way it's configured right now. So that was the issue. It basically dropped it. It kicked me out. My computer software that I used for security purposes kicked me out. Okay. And now let's go to configuration. Let's see if you see this. You may or may not. You're welcome, Cosmic Rose. Okay, so now we're in some settings, and you know what? I don't feel comfortable going in there when I'm not sharing my screen, so I guess I could have done that. So let's go ahead and go back into configuration. And we'll go back to the northern lights here in just a moment, although they're very much dimming. And picture. Sorry, it's slow to load on my end. Nope. So that's not the solution. Let's go back to configuration. Because when these planes go by, it would be great. Or, when we go to a nebula or these constellations, if we could just lock that focus and not fight the camera trying to do its own autofocus, right? So, okay, we're in configuration. Let's check picture. Oh, there's also video, audio. It's probably what I wanted. Thanks for learning on the fly here along with me, although you're just hearing my play-by-play. I'm using an older webcam tonight, an old Logitech 900 something. I can't remember the model number, but I haven't used this camera for a live stream in quite some time. Okay, let's go to video. Video, we've got our stream type, our video type, our resolution, our bit rate, video quality, frame rate, video encoding, profile. I don't see anything here that says auto or manual. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have to figure that out later, I think. I'm clicking on one last thing though. That's the picture tab, and I see no option here to put on manual. So let's go back to live view and we'll show you the picture again. Okay, just a moment, and we'll flip it back over to the northern lights. Let's go to zoom. And let's share the screen again. And we'll share that portion. There we go. And what I'm going to do now is we'll leave this pattern, this auto pattern, and we'll move it ourselves. We want to nudge real quickly. There's a quick nudge. That's a pretty abrupt though, isn't it? So let's just kind of scoot a little bit more tactfully over, and you can see things have dimmed down considerably. And so for those of you who have just joined the Northern Lights, you can still see them faintly here. This is a location where the Northern Lights were rocking tonight. They were really bright. There was a lot of movement. At one point in the evening, there was a really tight band, or almost like a ring, like looking at a portion of a ring, say around Saturn or something. It was just a belt, if you will, of green. A belt of green is a good way to describe it, horizontally just above the horizon. And then we got the really kind of agitated, various patterns, excited, rising and falling. And that was great. And that was after a period where things had kind of seemed like they were dying out, but they just came alive again. This camera is a pan-tilt zoom camera atop a rooftop there at this location, which is in British Columbia. It's the lake. You can't really, if you're not familiar with the area, but there is a lake just beyond these cottages. It's a very long lake that not only goes off into the distance or to the north there, but also goes off to our right going south. It's an Okanagan Lake. And this neighborhood is called La Casa Cottage Resort. Across the water there, in the center of your picture, and you can see the bright light beyond the ridgetops, that's Vernon, British Columbia, Vernon. And let's swing the camera around. I'm going to pick up the pace of this so we can just do this rather abruptly. But this is the view now looking across the lake. There's Orion rising, and that's looking to the east as Orion rises. And if we pan to the right and start looking toward the southwest, we'll be looking towards Kelowna. And Cosmic Rose in the live chat on YouTube says, as another song says, where you go, I will follow. You and Sassy Photo, that is. Thank you, Cosmic Rose. So now we're looking kind of southeast a bit. Kelowna is in the distance there, bottom near center of your screen, as well as its airport. That's why you kind of see a flashing light over here and some other flashing lights, is because just over this ridgetop is the airstrip in Kelowna, the airport. What's also pretty cool is if we look in this direction, we can make out an osprey nest in the distance. Let's look for that real quick. I'm not going to mess with the brightness, but I think it's going to pick up. Let's see here. Let's see if I can just get the focus a bit sharper. There we go. Okay, and the nest. We'll get this. We'll get this. I know you're saying, Mark, what are we looking at? I get it. Let's zoom out just a little bit by a bit more light, and we'll work on our focus. The nest is right here. Right here is the osprey nest. And during the day, we can really zoom in on that and see it quite well. And the osprey have left. They've migrated for the mid-fall and now into the winter. So they're gone. But there were bald eagles in the area a few days ago, and we managed to capture on video, if you will, using this camera, a bald eagle in that nest twice in the same day, and then flying out of the nest and towards this camera, passing right in front of Christian's house, which this camera is mounted to its rooftop. Let's try to fix that focus a bit more. There we go. And Cosmic Rose says in the live chat on YouTube, Christian said the eagles were in the nest, so they might be moving in. Time will tell. Yeah. So it was interesting that day, Cosmic Rose, because we saw a number of raptors and presumably eagles that were riding the thermals, if you will, just around this nest. We saw them throughout the day, and I haven't seen as much activity since. Today I wasn't on the camera at all until this evening, so I can't speak for today, but we were wondering if the eagles had just arrived and this is where their destination is going to be for the next few months and they're going to take over that nest, or if they're just passing through. Was not clear. Okay, so let's zoom out and we'll swing it back around and we'll see if we can make out the northern lights, because right there we're looking to the southwest. We're going to go fast here, and we can go really fast. Let's go really fast. I've got to pause here though, because I have to tell you, Orion is my favorite, my absolute favorite constellation. I know it's the favorite of a lot of people. For me, when I look at Orion, it brings back memories of a wonderful name. We called him Preacher Bill in Tucson, Arizona, in the early 1990s. And he was not a preacher, but he was a great guy. In fact, my oldest son's middle name is William, and named after Preacher Bill. And Preacher Bill used to talk about Orion a lot. And when Preacher Bill passed, I always thought to myself, when I look at Orion's belt, one of those stars represents my good friend Preacher Bill. And since that time, my friend Dave Peel has passed, and I think of Dave, who was a fascinating studier of the night sky, big fan of Carl Sagan. And the third star in the belt, my dad passed And so I think of those three people when I look at Orion's belt. And I always to this day get a thrill whenever I see Orion. It's just tells me what time of year we're in, the fall through winter. And I have those wonderful memories of those people. Let's go ahead and zoom in and see, like we did earlier, if we can get a bit sharper image here. Again, it wants to do its own thing. Yeah, I'm having difficulty. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Oh, not bad. There we go. And Cosmic Rose says in the live chat on YouTube, stop saying what I'm typing. I mean, I was typing eagles, then you start talking about them. Ah, okay. All right, let's go in tighter. I did not expect to be up this late, you guys. That's the wrong direction. I wish there was like a dial control for the zooming. That would be so wonderful. Look at that as we look at what I think is a nebula. Beautiful night sky. Look at that. See that right there? I think that's a nebula. Christian will tell me later. All right, let's zoom back out. There we go. And we'll zoom it out even further. And let's go and see if there's a trace of the northern light still there. Oh, yeah, we start to see that green there. Look at it. Still there. Christian, obviously, with his scientific background and his night sky background, astronomy background, can really talk about the northern lights. You know, it relates to sunspots, the activity on the sun. And it would be great to have him do a bit of live narration, or maybe capture some of the fantastic video of these last few hours that he's had on this camera when the northern lights were really active tonight. Let's get this back in reasonable focus. Oh, there we go. I went too far with it. There we go. All right, my friends. Well, I'll tell you what. It's possible that they'll get more active throughout the evening, and don't be surprised if you see falling stars. And I think we're seeing the Big Dipper right here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Cosmic Rose, would you agree? Oh, billions and billions. Yes, Cosmic Rose. And then Cosmic Rose writes dial control next on the to-do list. Well, that would be my suggestion for the app developer. Now, this is one of two software programs that can run this camera, and this one's called Hikvision. It's, I think, the default application that came with this. There's also another application that Christian has available, and he's made some progress in just the past day or two, and going deeper and finding the settings he needs to really achieve what he'd like with this camera. Keep in mind that most people who purchase the camera that you're seeing here tonight produce these wonderful images. This camera is commonly used for security. It might be used in airports, things like that. I don't know that there are many people who could argue that the primary purpose is now imaging Jupiter and Saturn in the night sky. But think of the wonderful benefits of this. I think this should be called the Chamber of Commerce camera, because it really shows the beauty of the area. It shows fantastic sunrises, moonrises, night sky, wildlife, an osprey nest, all these wonderful things. So what I would really recommend if you want to see this stream continue is I'm going to end it here shortly. But once we're done, flip over to at Sassy Photo. If you're catching the replay and you happen to make it this deep in the light in this replay, go over to Sassy Photo and check out his live stream featuring this camera. It will say something like La Casa Cottage Resort, Okanagan Lake, British Columbia live stream. And it's 24/7. And Christian, usually this camera is on auto. He will set it to a pattern, but there are many times where Christian is on and will show things, showcase things. He always has this wonderful 8 hours of music looping, and many times I will jump on as well and check out what we can find. So I really hope you enjoyed this evening. Let's put this on the newly created pattern 3 that Christian came up with this evening. And let's click play. And there we go. And again, Sassy Photo is the place to find it. Cosmic Rose, thanks for being there, joining me tonight in the live chat. And it looks like we have at least, in addition to you, 4 other people who are there watching. And again, this camera does phenomenally well in low light, and you can really see the stars. And who knows, maybe the northern lights will perk up a bit. We'll see. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. It's been a pleasure having you along. This is my first live stream showing Christian's camera and providing some narration. I do hope you enjoyed it. It might have been a little bit rough here and there, but we were working with one monitor and we pulled something off, and I had a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me for the ride, and just a fantastic view of the Northern Lights this evening. If you do go to Christian's channel, and if you can rewind the stream to say 9 and 10 o'clock at night, 8, 9, 10, you're going to see just a lot of wonderful Northern Light activity and some falling stars, meteorites, I imagine. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.